Good morning. I can tell by the excitement that there's a lot of joy in the accomplishments that we're about to experience here, and rightfully so. One of the things that we kind of like to share with you at this time, which we feel is very important for a number of reasons, there is that natural inclination to shout and to whistle and to scream perhaps and just clap for joy. But we'd like to remember where we're at this morning here in the sanctuary. We like to keep a reverence to it. And on top of all of that, we want to respect the others. If your name doesn't start at the top of the alphabet and people are whooping and hollering and shouting, guess what? The next person's name is not heard. And that takes away from the ceremony, from the recordings that we would like to have. So we would invite you to please refrain from some behavior that would be more appropriate outside of our sanctuary today. We'd like to ensure that everyone has a time and an opportunity. We do have reception. We do have other times to be able to do that, where the students will know, and believe me, they know, they're excited that you care, that you're here representing them today. We request your cooperation then in that decorum. We'd also like to remind you to silence your cell phones at this time. And if you're saving seats, we'd like you to make sure your family gets together rather quickly so that those that are not in, that have tickets, can still come in and find a slot to sit in. Thank you so much for your consideration as we get underway in just a couple moments.
Please bow your heads for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day you have given us. We ask that you bless this ceremony and that you bless us as graduates as we move forward in our lives today. You have led us to this moment, and we humbly ask that you continue to be with us in each and every step ahead. Help us to live lives that glorify you in every way. Be with us now and forever. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Members of the board, faculty, alumni, parents, classmates, guests, and the class of 2019. It's my honor to welcome you each here to our graduation. It's a remarkable how fast time passes, and those 4 years are upon us. And so we are here to celebrate the journey that they have taken, a journey that has had some twists and turns along the way, some challenges that we have overcome. And we just want to be happy and celebrate the academic and the artistic and the athletic and spiritual accomplishments that have been made this year. It's a fantastic achievement, and I'm proud to be a part of this moment with everyone. Let's remember that we didn't get here alone. There was a power watching over and caring for us. Thank you also for parents and teachers. You've worked hard, you've been dedicated, and you've given prayers to this class in a special way. In this regard, we're here to celebrate at this time, and we pray that each one of you will be here. The class is full. It's brimming over with accomplishments, with knowledge, compassion, ambition, and so we're here to welcome you to our graduation.
Good morning, everyone. It's the Alexes and Rachel presenting our Class Aim motto and text. The aim for the class of 2019 is don't make excuses, make it happen.
Our motto is not waiting for opportunities, creating them.
And our text is, for we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago. Ephesians 2:20.
Good morning. Family, friends, faculty, and administration, welcome. We are honored to be standing here before you today as co-valedictorians of the graduating class of 2019. Without your continuous love and support, not a single one of us would be before you today. To my fellow graduates, you can breathe now. We actually made it. I know it's hard to believe that 4 years are gone. When I was a tiny freshman, 4 years seemed like an eternity. But now, looking back on them, I ask myself what type of super speed time machine I stepped into. A few weeks ago, my dad asked me if I remembered my first day of school. I said no. But the more I thought about it, I started remembering one distinct moment on that first day of first grade. I was in the car, gazing out the window, wondering about what could be lying ahead of me. I can't tell you what my expectations were on that day, but I can tell you what has actually happened in every single one of our lives since then. We worked hard, discovered some of our talents and capabilities, achieved things we never thought we could, made great friendships and memories, and now we finally stand before you proudly today. We were told that the purpose of this valedictorian speech should be academic encouragement for our next 4 years in college. We are absolutely not qualified for this, at all. But we will give it our best shot. We still have a long road ahead of us, but high school has been preparing us for it along the way. Yes, we learned a lot about math, and English and airplanes with Mr. Cooksey, wherever he is. But more importantly, we have learned how to learn and have been taught how to think, two major skills that are necessary for the next steps in our lives. So my dear classmates, today is an important milestone in our lives. But before we all move forward and go our separate ways, Carrie and I want to encourage you to remember 3 things. Just 3, it's easy. Stay grounded, pursue your passion, and trust God.
I believe it is safe to say that most of us up here today would not be if it were not for the support of our families and friends. Family is very important and helps us to stay grounded when we are at home. But I want to talk a little bit about friends, since they are the ones we have been with while at school. I personally have learned a lot from my own friendships and from watching others, that when the real struggles of high school life come up, it's the friends who bring us through. Whether it's something like studying for that weekly A&P test, or being taught lyrics in Bible class, friends keep life interesting and on track. We have many great friendships in our class, and I believe that many of those friendships will be taken with us to college. However, we will certainly have to find new friends who will pick us up when we are hurting or just help us to chill when we are getting overwhelmed. My hope is that as we all go our separate ways to various colleges and universities, we will find ourselves making lasting friendships that will bring out our full potentials and keep us grounded.
When I first came into high school, I wanted to do everything. And by everything, I mean be involved in extracurricular activities at school, be a class officer, have good grades, have a social life, and participate in extracurricular activities outside of school. It sounds like a lot, and it really was. I was really busy, but all that taught me how to be self-disciplined within all the aspects of my life. Managing my time, prioritizing, making sure I ate well and went to bed at a reasonable hour, and staying connected to family and friends all throughout. With that, I was able to make it work. It was all a matter of balance, and finding that balance and staying disciplined was one of the major ways I stayed grounded. So as we encounter new experiences, wherever we're going, and find ourselves wanting to do everything all over again, we need to remember to find and maintain balance. If we stay grounded, we will be able to be the best version of ourselves so that we can prosper and succeed.
Even though we, the class of 2019, stand before you today as graduates, we do have at least 4 more years of school ahead of us. But there is hope. I believe that each of us has learned something about ourselves over the past years. We kind of needed to for our last English project. As we have transitioned from class to class, we have discovered our passions. Or for those of us who are just slightly indecisive, like me, we have at least discovered what general field we lean towards. Even though we do have at least 4 more years ahead of us, we now get the opportunity to focus on those passions. I think that many of the parents and family members who came to support us here today would agree that if you don't do what you enjoy, then there is really no point in doing it. Enjoyment is half the battle. If you enjoy what you are learning, then it can really help in doing well in that class. I know personally that the classes I enjoyed the most were the ones I did better in, because I spent more time on them. In this class, we have a lot of energy and excitement. As we move on, let's not lose that excitement. Let's find what we are passionate about and then make a difference.
There were times throughout the past 4 years where I felt extremely stressed and overwhelmed. But despite the piles of homework I had, I would always put everything aside on the Sabbath. My parents always reminded me that God will bless me for giving Him that day instead of keeping my nose in the textbooks. It was the one day that I could completely ignore my homework and not feel guilty about it. They were right when they told me that I should give it all to God and trust Him. So as we all move forward, I want to encourage you to remember to give God the burdens that are weighing us down and to put all of our trust in Him. He should be our anchor, the one we cling to. Oftentimes, we think we know what's best for ourselves, but He's the only one who truly knows. So if we let Him lead, then He will guide us going forward.
Looking back on the last 4 years, I believe we could all point out moments where we learned something outside of the classroom, either from our friends, family, or situations. Those experiences have helped lead us to where we are today, the graduating class of 2019. We have learned that although it's important to get that homework turned in before the last due date, it's also important to take time to treasure the friends who will be there to pick you up if you end up missing that date. We have learned that balance is necessary when signing up for extracurriculars so that music teachers don't go to war with the sports coaches. We have learned that you need to find your passion and trust God to do the rest. We are here today to close out the one chapter of our lives with you, but we are a class with potential. Thank you, parents, families, teachers, and friends, for the role you have played so far in our success. As we go forward, please continue to be there for us. And graduating class of 2019, as we go forward, let's make sure to stay grounded, pursue our passions, and trust God every step of the way. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be standing before you today. When I signed up to introduce Mr. Jared Lutz, or as the students like to call him, Mr. Lutz, or J. Lutz, as our 2019 commencement speaker, I was hoping that a speech was written out for me to read. The reason for this is simple. I did not think I would be able to write any words of introduction that can give Mr. Lutz the recognition that he deserves. But I have been given this awesome opportunity to represent the class of 2019 to both introduce someone that mostly everyone knows well, and to express our thanks and gratitude. Whether directly or indirectly, Mr. Lutz has impacted each and every one of our classmates' experiences here. Examples of this are his willingness to call him J. Lutz, his ability to chat with any scholar at any time or place about almost anything. This was proven to me firsthand this year when I had some issues going on, and Mr. Lutz talked to me at around 10 o'clock at night for around an hour to help me out. I remember walking into his classroom for the very first time, and I thought to myself, wow, he's gonna be a great teacher. I was wrong. He was an amazing one, and he has not changed one bit. Our class has made a lot of memories with Mr. Lutz. I'll tell you a quick one. One day, Mr. Lutz was lecturing us on a book, and the one rule that students can never seem to follow is to not lean back in your chairs. So, as you can imagine, David Ollday, being David Ollday, leans back in his chair, falls back, and hits the wall really hard and knocks down Mr. Lutz's wooden California poster and shatters it. As you can imagine, he was pretty upset, but it was all right because he put it back together and hung it back on the wall, so it was all good. In preparation, I asked several of my peers to describe Mr. Lutz in a single word. Words I received were caring, helpful, dope, and genuine. While I could go on for days with their responses, I will sum it up by saying, Mr. Lutz, you have wonderfully impacted all of our lives, and we are going to miss you so much. From the class of 2019, I say thank you. Now, could everyone please join me in both thanking and welcoming Mr. Jared Lutz.
Thank you, Tony. I'm at your side. But good morning, Spencerville. To the graduating class of 2019, esteemed faculty and staff, parents, grandparents, friends, extended family, welcome once again to Commencement. In the immortal words of William Shakespeare, if you have tears, prepare to shed them now. For those of you who do not know who I am, you may be asking yourself one of two questions. On the one hand, you may have come here this morning believing, however slightly, that Jared Lutz sounds like an important name. And right about now, it's setting in that you don't recognize me in the slightest. But here I am. On the other hand, you may be asking the person next to you quietly, who's the older-looking kid with the beard, and why is he talking? Either way, we're in this together, and I can assure you that by the time I'm finished, you may still have both of those questions. I want to start this morning by first thanking the graduating class for asking me to be your commencement speaker. I know that you sent requests and speaking invitations to heads of fields, titans of industry, politicians, and celebrities, and I'm sorry that none of them responded. But on a serious note, I cannot thank you enough for the honor of allowing me to speak to you all one last time. I know this is cliche, but it feels like just yesterday that you were walking into my classroom as freshmen, or sophomores, or some of you juniors, and one of you a senior. And I can hardly believe that in a matter of 3 short hours, you'll be walking out of the sanctuary as alumni. Of course, I'm kidding about this taking 3 hours. My speech is much longer than that. And while we're here today, of course, to honor the class of 2019, before we can hand them their hard-earned diplomas and adorn them with our praise, I think it only fitting that they sit through one more lecture. So, class of 2019, you'll have to forgive me for this, and maybe some of you don't remember, but this is the last time I'll ever get to teach any of you, and I've only got to say it. Have a seat and take out something with which to write. Don't try to write down every word. Just get what's important. If I'm being honest, I've thought a lot about what I want to say to you this morning. Honestly, I've been thinking about it since your freshman year. And no, please don't think I was being presumptuous. It's not presumption. It was hypothetical anxiety. See, I'm the kind of person that worries about hypothetical situations. The kind of person who, while walking into the Magic Kingdom behind my 3-year-old son, starts casually weeping, thinking about how a decade from now I'll be walking behind my teenage son, thinking back on this day, wondering where the time has gone. The kind of person who may or may not have an acceptance speech written for the Academy Awards, just in case. I'm the kind of person who, on the day David Aparicio started freshman year, a tad late, we all remember correctly, saw our discussion of the teaching profession as an illustration. While I can't remember the exact day of the week, and the exact words of the conversation are all but lost at this point, I can recall the general idea of our talk. And most importantly, I can vividly remember how it felt walking away from it. Believe it or not, I was even younger then, and had you seen me without my beard, you may have really confused me for a student. But to that point, Lucas is sporting a better beard than I am, so that might not be the best strategy. In any case, it was extremely early in the year, either the first or second week, really, and I didn't quite have a crystal clear picture of who you all were. At this point, you were preliminary labels. David O. was the one who made wild, outlandish claims at the most inconvenient times. Casey was the one who could and would talk to me about anything and everything for as long as I would listen. Jason and Eric had more bikes in their garage than there are stars in the galaxy. Matt was not tall. Alex was tall. None of us were as tall. Carissa was belligerent. Alessia was German. Nick was Alexandra's brother. Autumn was an artist. Richard Machado was anime Nintendo. Ronnie had a serious side eye. Nathan had a serious last name. I could go on. I could speak a lot about what I thought about you the first time. Because, well, this is how I saw you before I really knew you. These were largely based on first impressions, and not much more. But David A. didn't have a label in my mind because David A. hadn't yet started school. He hadn't yet made his first impression. That changed all too quickly. On the first day, right before English 9A, I remember David saying something to the effect that teaching was the easiest job in the world. That anybody could be a teacher because it wasn't hard. I wish I could say that I brushed it off and started class. But remember, I was younger then, less experienced, so we argued. And it was a pretty one-sided argument. I ended by saying something like, teaching is the hardest thing in the world, and you've proven that today. All right. Listen, I know it was a horrible moment. And it was bad for 2 specific reasons. On the one hand, it affected how David saw me, most importantly. And on the other, it affected how I saw David. Our first impression was unfortunately not the best. But luckily, that was only the first impression. And while wiser and more experienced individuals than I will tell you that first impressions are everything, class of 2019, I'm here to tell you that they are far from everything. First impressions are one thing, but they are not everything. And while it's true that there are certainly times when first impressions are the last things that you'll leave with someone, I'm so thankful that this is so often not the case, especially in this instance. Because if I had written David off based on my first impression of him, if he hadn't allowed me to grow and change and redeem myself in his eyes, we would have never gotten to where we are now. And frankly, and thankfully, where we found ourselves shortly after that first exchange. But we can't talk about a happily ever after before going through the woods. And there is truth in that claim. Truth in the idea that we are too quick to look at you once and never feel the need to actively replace what we saw. And truly, this isn't always inherently a bad thing. Believe it or not, the party often most guilty of this is parents. But before I throw all parents, myself included, under the bus, and only further confirm how some of you may or may not already feel about mom and dad, let me explain. I am an extremely nostalgic and sentimental person. So this is pretty easy. Either this goes hand in hand with being a person who revels in the hypothetical, or as a consequence of someone who fears it. As a father, I'm always going to look at my son and see the genuine joy and thrill in his eyes the first time he discovered that he could have a treat after dinner if he ate his food. The amazement in his ear-to-ear grin, his stifled laughter as he drew his hands to his mouth and whipped his head over to me. The innocence, the wonder, the belief that anything is possible that was captured in that moment will stay with me forever. And if I let it, as I actively try to do anytime he misbehaves, I will forever picture this perfect version of my son when I close my eyes and think of him. No matter how old he is, who he is now or down the road. This is what we do. In fact, it's what we do whether we recognize it or not. We go through life with you, and then, unbeknownst to us, almost like, well, a happy accident. We blink, and like a snapshot, that moment becomes you in our eyes forevermore. To be pulled out like an old photo book whenever someone asks about you. You want to know about my son? Well, let me first tell you about this one time. And we don't do this on purpose. Some of us in this room may never say those exact words, you understand, but the perfect image will always be there. It may pop into our heads when we're mad at you. It may replace the tears streaming down your face when we're grieving with you. It may even be the image we see when we blink away the tears right before you accept your diplomas today. But no matter what, it will be the way we think of you for the rest of our lives. And if we're not careful, it may be the only way we think of you. We do this in part, I believe, to guard ourselves against the inevitability of change. Sometimes I think we try so hard to hold on to this moment in our mind's eye because we're afraid, terrified even, that if we let it go, if we allow it to be replaced by whoever it is you are now, no matter how improbable it may be, we'll forget. Worse yet, we're afraid that by allowing you to consistently and actively replace the image that we have of you, we may, emphasis on may, not always like or even know who we see. So, we keep it in the wallets and the purses of our minds so we always have something to compare you to. And I'm here to tell you that this is, in and of itself, fundamentally flawed. If we allow ourselves to essentially trap our kids in how we used to see them, to allow the nostalgia to overshadow anything that's happened since that perfect moment that has defined how we see you in our eyes, then we will only ever be able to imagine what you'll become. We'll be too busy carefully manicuring our idealized picture of our kids, editing out anything that detracts from that picture, that we run the risk of never bearing witness to the new picture that they are painting as we speak. I'll say it again. There is nothing wrong with nostalgia and sentimentality. But if we are too caught up with what we saw in them, then we will never fully appreciate what we should see now. So parents, grandparents, teachers, friends, family, whoever you are, if you're in this room and you care about this class, while that perfect moment will undoubtedly stay with us, as it should, we cannot let it be the only moment that defines our graduates in our minds. We cannot let our first impression, or in nostalgia's case, our best impression, be our last impression. Just like we cannot let our worst impression overshadow any progress made. Graduates, here's the fun part. This applies to you as well. Character is not defined by an introduction or even proven through mistakes. Character is consistency. It is an active, conscious choice. It can be challenged in one moment and refined in the next. Character is who we are, not just who we were. The Bible speaks to this, of course, most notably in relation to Jesus' ministry and who he chose to pursue and surround himself with. That was a preposition, and I did end that sentence. And while the obvious move for me here may be to focus on the types of people Jesus sought out, to make a grand point regarding the fact that Jesus did not stop at first impressions and instead sought out those who most needed to be found. And while I could spend time discussing at length what those first impressions or first images were to really drive home that point, instead, I think it more valuable to simply sum up who they became and how we most remember them now, once Jesus got a hold of them. James and John aren't just remembered as the sons of thunder. Matthew isn't just remembered as a tax collector. Jude isn't just remembered as a power-hungry nationalist. Instead, these disciples, as well as everyone who Jesus met, are best remembered for who they became after his influence, and not before. In fact, I would go as far as to say their lives before Jesus are really only interesting or even worth talking about because of Jesus and who they became after him. If we only ever thought about them as who they were before Christ, if we allowed ourselves to linger on what we saw of them before his influence, we would never fully see the complete picture. We see pain, and God sees potential. We see struggle, and God sees success. We see clay, God sees creation. It's not about what we saw in you. It's about what God sees in you. So now we come to your part. Class of 2019, you are writing your story right now. Rather than resting on the fact that you have spent this long building a compelling backstory, wouldn't you rather work towards realizing your potential? This might sound counterintuitive coming from a writer and a teacher of fiction, but I don't work in imagination. I don't sit around imagining what you'll become someday, thinking about the possibilities ahead of you. I don't spend my time thinking about your first day of freshman year and everything that was ahead of you way back then, although I have very much been doing that this week. Instead, I choose to spend my days and nights and weekends working with you to help you realize, to truly own, that your ideal future should not end as a dream. Your ideal future is a choice. I can spend all day talking about what I saw in you as high schoolers. Your parents could spend all day talking about what they saw in you as children. Together we can create your Wikipedia pages right now and write your entire biographies from early childhood to college, but that's only as far as we can take you. And no one is only ever interested in what parents and teachers and friends and family saw once upon a time until we cannot ignore who we see now. Backstory is foundation. Character is what you build. As teachers, we talk so much about potential. In class of 2019, you have so much potential. But by definition, potential can only ever cover what you could become. Potential isn't a story. It's a preface. Right now, from this moment on, it's no longer about having potential. It's about what you do with that potential. So in 5, 10, 20 years, I don't want to think about you in terms of the potential you had when you were in high school. In 20 years, I want to be talking about the accomplished life you have. There are some of you here today that are so scared of tomorrow that you don't believe that what others see in you is even possible. There are some of you here today that cannot see past this moment, no matter how much I talk about your bright, incredible futures. There are some of you today that are so set on what you think you have to see for yourself that you've drowned out what others saw, have seen, and can see for you. But I'm here to tell you that thankfully, God doesn't operate on our terms. And his plans for you, more often than not, take your plans for yourself into little consideration. And I'm here to tell you that what God sees for you is far greater than whatever we once saw. It wasn't that long ago that I was sitting where you're sitting now. Almost exactly where you're sitting now, actually. And while I was certainly nervous about the future, I knew I'd be fine because I knew that in the end, I'd be a doctor. Because on graduation day 2007, I was confident in what I saw. I saw myself in the medical field. I saw myself performing surgeries. I saw myself doing consults. I saw myself working my own schedule. I saw myself in a hospital. I saw myself making real money. But God saw differently. Because God didn't see me through my eyes, he saw me through his, and he has shown me through yours. And while I saw myself as a doctor, you see me differently. In a survey I sent out to you at the beginning of the week, some of you showed me how you see me. You see me as a confidant. You see me as someone who genuinely cares. You see me as a coach. You see me as trendy. You see me as a big brother. You see me as caring. You see me as encouraging. You see me as someone who has made a difference. You see me as funny. You see me as relevant. You see me as a role model. You see me as understanding. You see me as a vine mastered. Thank you, Abby. You see me as a teacher. And most amazingly and important to me, you see me as a friend. I'm not standing here today telling you this to pat my own back. I'm standing here today telling you this because what I saw for myself pales in comparison to what you see in me. And had I not listened to God and what he was calling me to do, I'd never see any of this in myself. I wouldn't be standing here today at all. Never in my wildest dreams did I think a group of high school seniors in 2019 would mean as much to me as family. I never saw myself this way, and I never saw this for myself. But God did. But this is not my story. It's yours. Listen to how we, your teachers, saw you and how we see you now. We saw you as quiet. We see you as unabashedly inquisitive. We saw you as shy. We see you as confident. We saw you as wonderers and wanderers. We see you as belonging. We saw you as kindergartners holding hands at the flagpole. We see you in robes, about to take the stage and receive your diplomas. We saw you as inexperienced. We see you as tested by trial. We saw you as scared. We see you as leaders. We saw you as immature. We see you as prepared. What we saw is not what we see. Who you were is not who you are. And the beginning of your story is not the end. I saw you as a group of overly confident boys who wanted to learn how to talk to girls on a Friday night at Mount Etna. I saw you as a group of ridiculous girls who silly-stringed their English teacher on his birthday. I saw the discovery and subsequent adoration of Beyonce. I saw conversations about hairlines. I saw conversations about destiny. I saw excited emails about concepts that were clicking. I saw frustrated emails about grades. I saw worried eyes before starting the Odyssey. I saw confused eyes after finishing the Odyssey. I saw some confused eyes every day. I saw breaking my wooden California state flag. I saw breaking my understanding of logic. I saw incredible book cover projects. I saw questionable utopian societies. I saw developing writers find their voices. I saw smiles and frowns and laughs and tears. I saw a truly incredible collection of extremely talented individuals. I see you as artists. I see you as doctors. I see you as teachers. I see you as mechanics. I see you as business professionals. I see you as lawyers. I see you as editors. I see you as analysts. I see you as writers. I see you as scientists and engineers and photographers and physical therapists and professors and rappers and so much more. Jimmy Chapo. How I saw you is only part of the story. Spend your life seeking how God sees you, and I promise you will see yourselves clearly. Seniors, I want the world for you. I want you to be successful beyond your wildest understanding of what success is. I want you to see yourselves as worth every bit of what Jesus gave for you, and I want you to own your future. Be an example to those around you through how you walk, how you talk, how you act, how you love, and how you live. Remember that though your backstory is a part of you, it is not all of you. Take your next steps with confidence. Know that you have left a lasting impact on our school. Your seats will be filled, but your place never will. I am more proud of you than I could ever say. And I'm going to miss you more than you'll ever know. So David, you were right. Teaching you was easy. The hardest thing in the world is having to say goodbye. I may have seen you as my students, but I am glad to know you as my friends. Thank you.
He really got me there, honestly. Mr. Lutz, thank you for your meaningful and inspiring words. You have been a great influence and mentor in our growth throughout high school. You haven't just been a teacher, but like you said, you've been a friend and someone we can rely on. I especially want to thank you for not sticking to your first impression of me. For real. And I also want to thank you because this means a lot to all of us that you were here. Back to the point. Your speech, we're going to take it with us to wherever we go and whatever we do in life. We know that where we go, we're in good hands because you taught us, and all these amazing teachers taught us to first love Jesus and then show Jesus through our actions. Thank you for your speech, and thank you for all the staff, because we wouldn't be here without you. A round of applause for them, please.
Mine isn't as meaningful, sorry. Over the course of the past 4 years, the students of Spencerville Adventist Academy have used the gym for pep rallies, home games, class royales, and many more events. The class of 2019 is proud to announce that we have decided to contribute money toward buying new speakers for the gym. We hope our class gift helps the students in the many events that are to come in the near future.
Mr. Martz, Mrs. Paula Neal, faculty, parents, family, friends, and classmates. I am honored to stand before you today representing the graduating class of 2019. In a very short time, we will receive our diplomas representing the completion of this important milestone and closing this chapter in our lives. We do recognize that in 2019, the diploma we are about to receive, which we are all excited to get, qualifies us for literally nothing. It is something we are proud to receive and does provide us with a sense of accomplishment and the opportunity to begin working towards the completion of our next milestone, whatever that may be. During the last 4 years, we've experienced significant change and substantial growth. Thinking back to the beginning of our freshman year, I can still recall the vast diversity and individual uniqueness of our class. The challenges of developing friendships, working together, and accomplishing anything as a class seemed overwhelming. These differences helped our class grow as a whole. We would disagree, fight, and at times not like each other very much. But siblings do the same thing, and over time, that's what we've become, a family. Standing here today, I think we all realize that those individual differences, unique personalities, and diversity served as a tremendous resource that became our greatest asset. We always had new and unique ideas, whether it was in student association or in our class officer group. We've shared so many common experiences that will last a lifetime, whether it was enduring the wrath of Mr. Cooksey after half the class failed to turn in an essay on time, or when we were forced to marry each other and raise flower babies for a week during Bible class. A ton of fundraising events, or, most importantly, this weekend. All of these shared experiences have brought us closer together, and if I had the choice, I wouldn't pick another group to have experienced it with. On behalf of our class, I want to recognize and thank our class sponsors. Mr. and Mrs. Hess, for the last 4 years, you have spent countless hours planning, organizing, and supervising all of our class events. All the firesides, fundraisers, class meetings, class nights, and our class trip, just to name a few, required so much of your time and energy outside of school, after having had to put up with us and many more like us during your normal work hours. Reflect your dedication, and we sincerely appreciate it. I also want to thank our guidance counselor, Ms. McGowan. Ms. McGowan worked very hard to help us get through the college application process, ensuring that our efforts here were not in vain. Additionally, she was also there to offer encouragement, advice, and just listen if we needed to vent. Mr. Cooksey, You spent a lot of time trying to prepare us for college. I don't think you were the only one, at least I hope not, but you talked about it a lot during our classes. I guess we will find out in a few months whether or not we were listening. I want to thank all the faculty and staff who devoted so much time and effort into helping us develop and grow emotionally, spiritually, and academically. I'm sure that we really won't begin to understand and appreciate all of your efforts until we get to college and begin to face greater challenges. It goes without saying that we wouldn't be here without our parents, but this is not the time for the appreciation that we have to go unspoken. I can't possibly articulate the sentiment that each of my classmates has for the parental support they have received, so I will simply say, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. And since I'm talking about parents, I should probably say something about mine. I thought I would share with you a little about how stubborn my parents have been, especially my mom. My story begins in middle school. Like so many other young men, I had far more interest in sports, video games, and just about anything other than homework or school. My parents, and in particular my mom, never forgot to ask me when I got home from school whether or not I had any homework or I had to study for any tests. I soon learned that, this was really annoying because I didn't want to do my homework or study, yet she never stopped asking. At some point, I decided it would be a good idea just to tell her I did all my homework or that I didn't have any. I soon learned that my mom had access to the internet. And she could check my grades online. I also learned that while I didn't always know what my homework assignment was for the day because I didn't write it down, she could find that online too. Learning from my past mistakes, I was forced to develop a new homework avoidance strategy. This new strategy involved laying on the floor and refusing to get up. My parents didn't seem to care where I did my homework and joined me on the floor. I tried leaving my math book at school, and my dad threatened to take all of my money and buy a math textbook just to keep at home. My final attempt to avoid homework was to shove my books under the bed so far that they couldn't reach them, and then revert back to, you guessed it, just laying on the floor again. Needless to say, they never gave in, and I learned that my mom's persistence and relentless passion for me doing my homework was endless. I'd like to say I didn't need any of that motherly persistence in high school, but I can't. Fortunately, my mom never gave in and never stopped pushing me. Mom, I know I was a giant pain and probably made you turn just a little bit gray, but I want to say thank you. You never quit even when I wanted to, and you motivated me to finish strong and always do my best. I love you. Research suggests that we will all forget most of what has been said here this entire weekend. So, knowing this, I want to share just one very simple concept with you. This was taken from a graduation speech given by Admiral William McRaven, former Navy SEAL, Commander, U.S. Special Operations Command, the Joint Special Operations Command, and the man responsible for the raid on Osama bin Laden. His speech was entitled, "If You Want to Change the World." If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day, and it will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and then another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that little things in life matter. If you're not able to do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made, and a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. Admiral McRaven went on to talk about the importances of not backing away from a challenge, the value of diversity, the power of hope, and the dramatic impact just one person can have on the lives of others. He summed up his remarks with the following statement, a statement that I leave with you and the one thing you really should remember. So if you want to change the world, start each day with a task completed. Find someone to help you through life, respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and you will fail often, but if you take some risks, step up when the times are the toughest, face down the bullies, lift up the downtrodden, and never give up. If you do these things, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today, and what we started here will indeed have changed the world for the better.
As I lay me down, heaven hear me now. I'm lost without a cause, after giving it my all. Winter storms have come and darkened my sun. After all that I've been through, who on earth can I turn to? I look to you, I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you, I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. About to lose my breath. There's no more fighting left. Sinking to rise no more. Searching for that open door. And every road that I've taken led to my regret. And I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Nothing to do but lift my head. I look to you, I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can't be strong. I look to you, I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. My levees are broken, my walls have come crumbling down on me. The rain is falling, defeat is calling. I need you to set me free. Take me far away from the battle. I need you to shine on me. I look to you, I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you, I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. Ooh. I look to you. I look to you.
At this time, we will be presenting some graduation awards. And first, I'd like to call on Miss Ms. Sharon Conway from Washington Adventist University to recognize some of our scholars.
Good morning. On behalf of the administration, faculty, staff of Washington Adventist University, congratulations to the class of 2019. It is an honor to join you and your family and friends to this wonderful occasion. As you heard, my name is Sharon Conway, and I'm here today to acknowledge and celebrate the academic achievements of the class of 2019. I have to say that in my experience with Washington Adventist University, this is one of the highest achieving scholastic classes I have seen. We are here to present to you $1,142,000 of scholarships over 4 years. But before I do this, what we're going to do, I just wanted to bring to your attention that starting this year, this fall, Washington Adventist University will be hosting the Model United Nation as an extension of our Honors College program. We are the only Adventist university in our Adventist system to have an Honors College program. And we will be doing the Model United Nation program there. I also want to remind you that we also have an 8th semester free program for incoming freshmen. What this does is that if you finish your degree within 4 years, you get a semester free of tuition. This could save you a whole year's school of tuition of over $45,000. And also, in 2019, we will be offering, for the first time, our bachelor degree in music therapy. So Washington Adventist University has a lot of exciting things happening here in the future. But on to these scholastic achievements. What I'm going to start with is with our Gateway Scholarships recipients. This is a scholarship that awards $16,000 to the student over 4 years. This scholarship recipients are David Aparicio, James Hyde, Jailu Bao, Anthony Galeas, Elijah Rao, Veronica Slack, David Ogbu, Joshua Hernandez, Donnell Foote, Keenan Charles, Michael Rackley, Clayton Potts, Eric Portillo, and Alexander Noble. The next recipients are receiving our trustee scholarship. That is a scholarship that awards $24,000 over 4 years. That is Camilla Howell, Abigail Kim, Isabel Artiga, Nicholas Toscano. Camilla Oster. Amanda Lucchini. Rachel Ingram Clay. Our next group is our Presidential Scholarship. This scholarship is an $8,000 scholarship, but because the Spencerville is within the Columbia Union, they get an additional merit scholarship of $2,000, so it's $10,000 per year for a total of $40,000 over 4 years. Lily Lopez. Sean DeWitt. Please, I don't want to mess up this name. Nathan Choctaw. Jason Bellevue. Marilyn Antoine. Sierra Zinke. Ryan Welch. Eloise Tran. Amar Sudaker. Carissa Smith. Edward Rivera. Alicia Richley. Carrie Remmers. Our last group of recipients is for our Scholastic Achievement Award. They received a 95 percentile on their SAT scores or ACT. They are receiving 50% of tuition scholarships for a total of $46,000 over 4 years. That is Janie Liu, or Gianni, Lucas Leitao. Alexander Hess. Faith Urig. And Sandhya Kandagli. Congratulations to this class of 2019. Your scholarships will be mailed to you.
I'd now like to call on Captain Joshua DeHutt from the U.S. Army to present a special award.
Beautiful Sunday morning to everyone here. Congratulations to the class of 2019. It is quite a milestone and something to be proud of. Give them a hand, everyone. I am not here for everyone, though. I'm only here for one student, Nicholas Toscano. The United States Army ROTC Scholarship provides tuition for college students who aspire to serve as future Army officers. These students have demonstrated excellence in academics and athletics and have proven they have the leadership potential to carry out one of the most sacred duties there are, the leadership and caring of soldiers. The Army ROTC Scholarship allows students to develop leadership skills, complete their college education, and commission as second lieutenants in the United States Army. Once commissioned, many of these students will be directly responsible for dozens of soldiers and millions of dollars in government equipment and face challenges requiring sharp leadership skills and steadfast commitment to service. On behalf of Major General John R. Evans, Jr., Commander of the U.S. Army Cadet Command, I would like to congratulate Nicholas Tistrano on receiving the ROTC scholarship.
I'd now like to call on Chaplain Tim Soper to present the Caring Heart Award.
Good morning. The Caring Heart Award is an annual award presented by the North American Division, Office of Education, and the Columbia Union. It recognizes an outstanding personal example of demonstrated leadership, witnessing, and service activities, both on campus and in the community. The award includes a plaque, a personalized Bible, and $500 that may be used towards tuition at any Adventist school or to participate in any mission or service activity of their choice. To be selected, a student must be a full-time junior or senior with a strong citizenship record. They must show significant and varied participation in witnessing and service. They should participate in mission outreach efforts and be an overall positive example of selfless service on campus. Recipients are nominated and selected by the school faculty and staff. This year's Caring Heart Award is presented to a student who serves tirelessly in their position of student leadership, putting countless hours into planning events for the student body. They consistently bring energy and encouragement to their peers and have participated in a variety of mission trips and service activities. But above all, they're nominated for their behind-the-scenes, under-the-radar acts of selfless service for others, an encouraging word, a helping hand, a small act of kindness to brighten someone's day. Because of his consistent and genuine concern for others, we are proud to present this year's Caring Heart Award to Nathan Chakchwak.
At this time, I'd like to recognize the entire class for receiving a little over $1,815,500 in academic scholarships as of today. Let's give the graduating class a round of applause. At each graduation, we give $50 awards to seniors in the following categories: academics, leadership, sportsmanship, and spirituality. If you were here on Friday evening, you would have known that Amar Sudakar was recognized for the Light Bearer Award, and he received that recognition on Friday evening. In the category of academics, we would like to recognize our class valedictorians. In addition to the $50 award that we will be presenting them at this time, they already are wearing their valedictorian medallions. This year, we have co-valedictorians. I'd like to invite Carrie Remmers and Alessia Richley to join me. Our co-valedictorians. Our last two categories are chosen by teacher votes. In the area of leadership, we recognize a student who has demonstrated the qualities of character, commitment, communication, competence, courage, and focus and initiative. This year, the Leadership Award goes to our Student Association President, Nathan Chatwa. And now for sportsmanship. One male and one female athlete. We choose them for exemplifying the ideals of a Christian athlete. These ideals include great sportsmanship, positive leadership, athletic ability, teamwork, and strong work ethic. Our female recipient this year will be Carissa Smith. Our male recipient will be Zachary Hyde. I'd like to say congratulations to all of our seniors. As you prepare to receive your diplomas, I want you to remember something that's very important. Remember, Hornets are what? Intentional! We love to serve? Got you, very good. Because you need to know this as you go out into the world. Let's try that again. Hornets are intentional. We love to learn, live to serve, all my prize! At this time, we will prepare to receive the diplomas.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite the first row of the graduating class of 2019 to please rise to receive their diplomas. Nicholas J. Toscano, President, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior. Joshua Ryan Welsh, Vice President, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Alexander James Hess, Secretary, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior, and he's attended SAA for his entire education. Abigail Mi-hyun Kim, Treasurer, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society. Richard Lemos Machado, Pastor, 4-year senior, and he's attended SAA for his entire education. Rachel Ann Ingram Clay, Social Vice President, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior, and she's attended SAA for her entire education. Isabelle Rebecca Artiaga, Sergeant at Arms, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Matthew Martin Abrams, 4-year senior. Andrew Ribem Berlandi Alves. Marlon Antoine, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society. Hector David Aparicio, he's a 4-year senior. Jailu Bao. Second row, please rise. Jason Patrick Bellevaux, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior, and has attended SAA for his entire education. Keenan Elijah Caleb Charles, 4-year senior. Nathan R. Chuktois, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Carlos Daniel Cisneros. Sean Daoming DeWitt, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society. Donnell Daquan Nelson Foote. Roberto Anthony Galeas, 4-year senior. Joshua Renee Hernandez, graduating with honors. Camellia Shane Howell, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society. Zachary James Hyde. Sandia Sarah Kandagli, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Lucas Pocus Leitao, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Gianni Liu, graduating with honors. Lily Diana Lopez, National Honor Society. Amanda Carolina Lucchini, graduating with high honors. Alexander Mark Noble, graduating with honors, the 4-year senior, and he's attended SAA for his entire education. Third row, please rise. K. David Obwe, 4-year senior. David O. Olade, 4-year senior. Camilla Jolie Oster, graduating with honors, high honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Eric Daniel Portillo, graduating with honors, 4-year senior. Clayton John Potts, graduating with honors. Michael Spencer Rackley, graduating with honors, 4-year senior. He attended SAA for his entire education. Carrie Lauren Remmers, graduating with highest honors, co-valedictorian, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Alessia Rishley, graduating with highest honors, co-valedictorian, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Samuel Edward Rivera, graduating with highest honors. Benjamin Elijah Rowe. Veronica Adele Slack, 4-year senior. Carissa Grace Smith, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Amar Burhan Sudiker, high honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior, graduating in absentia. Eloise Gwendolyn Tran, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior. She's attended SAA for her entire education. Autumn Faith Urig, graduating with highest honors, National Honor Society, and a 4-year senior. Kirsten Sierra Zinke, graduating with high honors, National Honor Society, 4-year senior, and she's attended SAA for her entire education. Congratulations, graduates.
Only 2 rocks. What can we say? That's good. Oh, they didn't have the guts to pan them out, I guess. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Well, I just want to say it's my privilege, senior class of 2019, to welcome you to the Spencerville Adventist Academy Alumni Association. With all and that does have privileges and responsibilities. You'll find out. Okay? That's good. And now it's my opportunity of privilege to take the incoming senior class of 2020. Please stand, and I'll introduce you to the senior class.
Can you guys stand up with me in prayer?
Of course.
Dear Father, we've come to the end of the road. In our end game, as we make our final stand, we thank you and dedicate this victory to you. You were with us for 4 years since the beginning of our high school. In fact, you were there even before that. And by your grace and guidance, you willed that all of us standing here today will go to this school, and we are only leaving here today because we are finishing another step in your plan for us. Bless this school that has made its mark on our lives. Bless the staff, the parents, the students who have attended and are yet to come. But most importantly, bless this class. I stand here in prayer among brothers and sisters, people who I will keep in my heart for a lifetime. And so I ask, wherever we may go, in times of joy and sadness, that you be there for this family of mine. I ask that you bring us all back together at the tree of life. And as we seek our next chapter in the great story, help us to remember this moment, our victory leading to your glorious return. Amen.
Amen.